So, what we discussed in the last class is, what is it? What we discussed? List, right? The entire list data structure and how values are getting stored, and we discussed almost everything, correct?
Yes.
And we also discussed the various methods which is available in the list, correct? Let's just make it in the text. In the text. If I want to create an empty list, okay, I want to create, what is my requirement? I want to create my empty list. How I can create it? What are the different ways to create an empty list? If you want to create an empty list, use square brackets. For example, I'm having L1, correct? L1 is equal to, I'm giving this empty list. There is one way. I'm having L2. There is another way, which is using the list method. Yeah. Just do the type of it, print of type of L1 and type of L2 and execute it. Both are the what? List data structure. Okay, let it get connected. If you want to create an empty list, there is two different ways to create it. The first one is, see, both are the list data structures. What are the different ways to create an empty list? The first one is by using a square brackets, or you have to use what? List. Okay, so that is the one. And what are the different ways to adding an element? Adding an element or value to my value, to my list. What are the different ways? First one is append. Yes. Next. Insert. Yeah, very good. Extend. Everybody is familiar, right? What is append does? Takes an element, add it at the last index. Insert. It at like a certain position or certain value. Extend. Take a next iterable and add every element of second list to the first elements. Correct? So there is the one way of adding an element. For example, I want to sort my list. What is the first rule? If you want to sort a list, what is the rule number 1? All list elements should be homogeneous. Guys, please practice it. Why it should be homogeneous? When you can compare with a number can be compared with another number. Correct? You cannot compare a string with a complex data type. A number with a string data type. How you can compare? There is no comparison between those two things. So that is the reason when you are doing a sorting, always rule should be homogeneous elements. You can have all the strings, or you can have all the numbers, or either you can have all the data type. Correct? Okay, that is fine. Then if you want to do a sorting, use a sort function. So by default, which order you will get? Ascending order. If you want a descending order, which one I have to do? Reverse is equal to root. Then you want to reverse my list. I don't want an ascending or descending order. I just want to reverse it. Which function is available? Reverse method is available. Very good. And we are also having what? Count. I want to check the number of occurrences. Okay. For what is it? We have count. It will tell you how many number of times it is present. If it is not present, you will get 0. Correct? Now I want to delete the elements from my list. So I want to do delete operation. How I can do it? Using del keyword is the one way. Correct? And the second thing is pop. And third one is remove. Each and every way we discussed. In these two cases, you should know what? Index. You should know index. And this case, remove, you just know the value and value will be removed. If value is not there, we'll get value error. Correct? And the last one we discussed it. I want to know the index position. Use the index method. I want to know index position. We have index. And we also have one last thing we discussed, to copy it. I want to create a new copy. I want to having existing list. I just want to create a new copy out of it. We have copy function. So these are all the methods which is available, and we discussed every single thing. We discussed every single thing. Correct? We just want to do what? Number 2, we put it dot. So let me just execute that. Where is number 1? So after L1, right? Just do L1 dot control plus spacebar. All the methods you will get. Append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort. Every method we discussed. Each method is having different purpose. Everybody is familiar with these methods? If any confusions, any doubts on these methods? Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Narmada, can you answer? What does pop method do?
It delete the value and show the index of the value.
Okay. So what about if I don't pass any index value? For example, I'm just giving L1.pop. What does it do?
Here L1 is empty list.
Okay,
So
L1 list, and you try to do pop operation, what you get?
it will give error.
Yeah, because the list is empty, you'll get an index error. You cannot remove an element. But if values is present, the last index value will be removed and it returns. The operation with the advantage with the pop method is what? It will not only removes it, it will also return it. Remove and return operation will be done by pop. If you don't give any index value to the pop method, it will simply remove the last value and returns it. If you pass any certain index, it will remove that index value. Correct? If that index is not available, you'll get index error. If list is empty, you'll get index error. That point is clear. If everybody is familiar with a list data type, we'll just move on to the tuple. Tuple is immutable. That's it.
Can you repeat again what is mutable?
Sorry?
Mutable and immutable.
Yeah. So mutable is nothing but where you can allow to modify. For example, I'll just give you a demo. Okay. I'll just give you a demo. I'm having L1. If you want to create a list, what you can do, you just open a square bracket, pass some values. I'm doing 1, comma. So let's go with the 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay. Now I'm having my tuple. Okay. If you want to create my tuple, you have to use parenthesis. Use parenthesis. So I'm having my T1, which is a tuple. I'm using parenthesis to create my tuple data structure. In this tuple data structure, also same elements 10, 20, 30, 40. Let it get execute. Type of L1. Then print of type of T1. Let me just show you. First one should be list data structure. Second is what? Tuple data structure. Clear? So now I'm saying list is what? Mutable. List is what? Now I'm having what? L1 is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. Now what is my L1 of 0? I want to change from 10 to 100. I want to change it from L1 to 100. And let's print that L1. It's changed. Now 100, 20, 30, 40. Correct? Now I'm having my T1, right? T1 is what it is having? 10, 20, 30, 40. Now I want to do the same operation. Can I access T1 of 0? Yeah, indexing is preserved. It's same element, same futures. T1 of 0 is equal to 0. 10. Okay. Now this T1 of 0, I'm assigning 100. If you execute this, what happens? See? It cannot support item assignment because tuple is immutable. It's just freezed. Once you create it, I'll not allow you to modify it. That is the only feature. Okay, you can do only creation of me. You cannot do an update operation. You cannot do any delete operation. You cannot do anything. You can only read. For example, even files, some of the files is there, right? You get only read access. You cannot modify it. So that is the difference between immutability and immutability. Does that answer? Rohit?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there is only read operation. There is no write operation on it. I'm having T1. The only the features which is available is what? Index and count. Either you can get how many times it is present. For example, I'm giving count, the same futures. The count method, how it will work is in the list. It also works the same thing. It gives you number of occurrences. I want to know how many number of times 10 is present. One time. Okay, if T1 dot count, I'm giving 100. Is 100 is there? No. 10, 20, 30, 40. 0. That's it. Because count is 0, because the number of occurrences is 0. It is not present anything. There is the count method. Even we have index method, right? In the list. What does index method do? It will give you index value. Index value, it will just give you index value. If the value is present, it will give you index. If value is not present, value that value is not there. T1 dot index. Don't get confused. See, it's the same method, same futures. You are just using in a different data type. I'm having T1 dot index. I want to know the 10th index. I'm giving you value. 10 is in present what? At 0th index. But 40 is present in which index? 3rd index. The count and index method will give you, count method will give you what? Number of occurrences. Same futures. How a list will work, the same futures. But when I was having this L1, right? L1, 10, 20, 30, 40. L2 is equal to, I'm having 50, 60, 70, and 80. I want to add my all L1 elements to what? To L2. In that case, which method you have to use? L1 dot extend. Getting it? So there is another way also, which is L1 plus L2. Use not concatenation. You are doing addition. Okay, concatenating like you are clubbing to them together. That's a strings. Here it becomes what? You are taking that elements to adding it. Because it is coming again, because it's L1 dot extend, it's already done. Let me now just revert this. Okay, you'll get what? L1, 10 to 30, 70, 60. There is another way to do it. Even the same operation you can perform in the tuples also. Let's just take the same thing. Because there is no extend method now. There is no extend method is there in the tuple. But if you want to add it, you can do that. How I can create a tuple? Parenthesis, very good. Square bracket means? Square bracket means list. Now I'm having it, just do T1 plus T2. It will be in the parenthesis of 10 plus 10 to 70, 80. Okay. The only difference is immutable and mutable. That is the only difference. Other than that, there is nothing else. I'm having T1. Okay, let's go with the T5. In this tuple, right? It is storing a list. 10, 20, 30. And I'm having a remaining values 40, 50, and 60. What I want to do is, I'm accessing the first element, T5 of 0. What will be the result? What is the result? What is the 0th position?
10, 20, 30.
Yeah, a list, entire list is considered as one element. 40 is considered as one element. Yeah, that's the right answer. T5 of 0, you'll get the first value. With that index value, you'll get it. Okay, in terms of accessing it. It will not only store only homogeneous, it store heterogeneous. This value 40 is what? Integer. These are the integer data type. This list is what? When you are having a square bracket, is a list data structure. It is storing a list and integers. You can store multiple data structures. Clear? Not only now, you can create another object also. You can create another class, create an object of it, and you can store in tuples also. In the list also, everywhere. That part we can discuss when we are doing object-oriented OOPS concept. But for now, just understand, if I want to access the first element, do T5 of 0. I want to access the 10 now. Then you have to do what? T5 of 0, again 0. It's the 0th place now. T5 of 0, it's the 0th index. In the 0th index, I'm having 0th element. T5 of 0 of 0. for 10. Now I am increased to 2. Then I am changed it to 1. We'll get 10, 20. Clear? Sir, you said tuple is what? Tuple is immutable. T5 of 0 I'm getting. T5 of 0, what it will give me? A list. On that list, I'm doing append operation. In this append operation, I'm adding 40 or I'm adding 100. T5 of 0, it will result me what? A list. On that list, I'm adding this append operation and result that T5. You got 10, 20, 30, you got 100, then 40, 50, 60. When you're having a list data structure, you can modify these elements. List is immutable, right? What? List is immutable. Okay. List is immutable, but tuple is immutable. I'm having tuple, which is having a list. I'm modifying that list, but I'm not modifying a tuple. Clear? Let me just give you another example. I'm having T6 now. I'm creating empty parameter, no empty tuple. In this tuple, what I'm doing is I'm having a list 1, 2, 3. I'm giving another tuple, which is 5, 6, 7. And I'm having what? 8, 9. Clear? Let me just T6 of 0, 0. If I get 0, I'll get a list. I give 1. You'll get 5, 6, 7, which is a tuple. I can add an element to 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to add an element to 4. What I'm doing is T6 of 0, I'll get T6 of 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm adding this element 4. T6 of 0 to this 0 element. I'm doing append operation. I'm adding 4 here. Just added T6. 1, 4 got added. But for a tuple, can you add anything? There is no method itself. There is no method itself to add an element to tuple. How I can add it? That is a problem again. So now what I'm going to do is, let me just replace it. Just T6 of 0 and 0. What I should get? 1. Clear? In this one, instead of 1, what I'm doing is I'm replacing with a 0, or I'm replacing with 100 again. And let me show you the T6. 100. 1 got changed with 100. Can I do the same thing here? I want to replace 5 with a 500. T6 of, I'm going on the first index. First index 5, 6, 7. In this first index, I want to get the what? 0th element, which is, it will give me 5. In this 5, I want to replace it with what? 500. Do you think it will work? Because why it will not work? It is immutable, and you are trying to add what? Assignment operator, that definitely not possible. So that is the difference. When a tuple is having any other data structure, any other different data type, that data type can be modified. A tuple element and that data structure can be modified, but tuple it cannot be modified. Let me just show you how it gets added. Okay. Let me just take my T6. Let me just show you visualizing. You'll get more clear understanding. Okay. Let me do T6 of T6 of 0. See how it got stored? In the first index, it is taking a list and a list object got created, and that list object reference is assigned to 0. And the tuple is created differently. In a different location, it is getting stored, but the reference is getting stored what? 1. That reference is nothing but memory address. That ID method we do now. That memory address will be stored in the first location, first index. Same thing happens with a list. In the different location, list will be added, but that address will be stored in where? 0th position. The same thing happens here. Clear? Sir, what about list? If I'm doing a list, take an example of list. Where is the list? Okay, I'm taking this. This also does the same thing. I'm having what? Yes. Now what I'm doing is on this 80, I'm adding T6 here. I'm adding entire this tuple T6. I'm adding it to what? To L2. My T6 object got created. T6 value and having the same thing. But when C, what happens? When L2 gets created, what happens? See? Understand that. I will go to the previous step. I'm having a T6. As long as I'm creating L2, L2 will be created. This T6 now, the T6 will be stored in what? L2. Must change in the diagram. See, I'm having L1, L2, right? To this L2, I'm having the normal values, which is numbers 50, 60, 70, 80. But when I'm doing T6 now, taking that entire object reference and storing it in fourth. But tuple is in a different memory address itself. But it is storing in the memory address fourth place. You can modify this tuple. But the tuple element should be editable. In the tuple, I'm having another list now. This can be modified. But 5, 6, 7, that cannot be modified. That is a basic difference you have to understand. Okay, the item assignment can be possible on only what? A list data structure. Tuple cannot be having it. For deleting, right? I'm having T6, right? T6, right? 100, 20, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I want to delete the first index. I want to delete that entire list. I want to delete the entire list. If it is a list, what you do? Del keyword. T6, you can give 0. That gets deleted. What is it saying? Item deletion doesn't support. Because why? It is immutable. Dude, I am immutable. You cannot do any delete operation. You cannot do on me. You cannot do any append operations on me. I can only do read operation. You can do only read operation. You cannot do any update operation also. That is the reason now equal is not happening. I want to change this 8 to 80. Can I do that? I'm doing an update operation. Not at all possible. You can do only read operation. Immutable means only read. Clear? But it is stored in where? But if, yeah, this you can do again. Okay. For example, I'm having del, right? Del T6, T6 of 0. This will give me what? List. In this list, I want to remove that first index. I want to remove that 100. This I can do. See, this I can do. If I give the T6, 100 will be gone. Why? You are deleting the element from the list, not from a tuple. But when you are doing a deleting of an element from a tuple, that I will not allow. Okay. Clear? People who are online, any doubts? Mutable and immutable. Difference between a list and tuple. You can do all the operations. Even indexing is there, right? Even you can do add the duplicates. For example, I'm having T6. Let me go with the T6 every time. T7. I'm having 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, 2, 3, 2 again. Okay, I'm having T7. Indexing order is there. This is the how I added. Same way it is there. Clear? And duplicates are allowed. Multiple ones is there. Multiple twos is there. Multiple threes is there. Any doubt in this tuple?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. What I'm having is in my tuple, right? T7 I'm having. I want to get the maximum element. I want to find the maximum element in my tuple. Just use the max method. And I want to discuss a few generic methods every day from some of them. You just give T7. In your T7, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3 is there now. What is the maximum element? Huh? What is the maximum element? 3. Got it? What is the minimum element? Minimum of T7, you get 1. These are the direct methods. If I want to know how many number of elements is present, which method I have to use? Count. I want to know how many elements is present. How many number of, not number of occurrences, number of elements. In my tuple, how many elements is present? Use length. Why you are confusing with the length with the count? It is like number of return, the number of items. Number of items. I'm not saying how many number of times it is present. It is 7. 6 elements is there. Clear? Yeah. So there is one more operation which you can do. We have these arithmetic operations, right? L1 plus minus everything. You can do plus operations. I'm having L1, right? And I'm having L2. Correct? When you're doing L1 plus L2, what you are doing it? 10, same thing. Now I want is what? 10, 20, 30, 40 is there, right? Now I got 10, 20, 30, 40 again and again. Let me just show you what happens. L1 multiplied by 2. I want 2 times the same elements. 10, 20, 30, 40 up to here, this first. Again 10, 30, 40, 40. Because you are doing 2 times. Now I'm doing what? 3 times. L1 of 3 times. We'll get what? Getting it? What about I'm doing L1 minus L2? The problem is it will allow only plus and multiplication. Correct? Even when you are doing this multiplication now, you need a number, not any other string, not any other thing. Okay. Any questions? Correct? When I was giving multiplied by 2 times, you are getting 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Fine. What about I'm giving L1 of 0? L1 gets multiplied by 0. Anything with a 0? 0. All elements is gone. This will also work as clear method. There is a clear method in the list, right? You want to remove all the elements, you can do clear operation. When you are doing L1 into 0, you'll do it. Okay. So no, I don't want that L1 under of 0. I want 3 times L1 into 3 times. What about explore this? You do many experiments. One operation is possible to give with many other operations. Getting it? I'm doing L1. I'm giving what? 2.0. 2.0 or 2.9 I'm giving. Getting it? So when I was giving L1 into 3, it is getting 3 times it is there. But when I was going with a floating data type, what has happened? Because stupid, how I can give you 2.9 times? How I can give you 2.9 times, 2.5 times? How I can give you? If it is 2 times means 1 into 2 times, I'm giving you 2 times. 3 times means 3 times I'm giving you. 0 means I'm giving you 0. But when it's a tuple, sorry, when it is a floating data type, how I can do it? For example, I'm giving 2.5. That definitely not possible, because how you can get a 2.5 times? Here I'm getting all the elements and it is getting 2 times, 3 times. But how it is getting happening? So now my question is, now what I'm going to do is L1 2.5 is not possible, right? I'm giving 2.0. You said 2.5 times, it is not possible, right? Okay, that is the reason you are getting error. What about I'm giving 2.0? But the thing is, anything, but you are giving floating data type, that is not at all possible. When you are doing these operations, you should always use what? An integer data type. Clear? Any doubts? Guys, you have to practice, do many experiments. Let it get failed. What is the point? See, now I'm doing some experiments, I'm getting to know. Okay, so now I'm having what? My name is Shiv. Okay, I want the Shiv to be 100 times. I want 100 times. It's very simple. Do multiply 100 and that's it. Clear? But these operations can be performed on the list and these operations. What about I'm having a tuple? I'm having tuple. I'm having my T1, right? 10, 20, 30, 40. And my tuple, what I'm doing is I want 3 times. into that result. We go next. See, it is 4 times. But the only thing is, every time a different object will be created, and that object reference will be the same address. But this address has got changed. T6 is still original. There is no change in the address. So that is the reason you have to notify. Do many experimentations, did it fail? And get to know. Don't expect like at one time you can write a program. Not at all possible. Okay. Let me just give you some examples. Okay. What I'm having is, I'm having a list. I'm giving 1, 2, I'm having 5, I'm having 7. Okay. This is my input. This is what? This is my numbers. Now, what is the data type it is having? A list of strings. So now this data type will becomes what is just colon list of strings. Now what I want is, I want my output. The output should be 1, 2, 5, 7. I don't want a list of strings. I want a list of integers. How you can do it? For that, what you just have to do is, okay, I'm having this data structure. Let me create a new result. I'm giving a result. How we can create an empty list? Use opening square brackets. Let me use, I want every element of my numbers, every element of my number. I'm taking that number from numbers in nums. I'll get that. If I print it out, I'll get what? 1257. Here, what I want to do is, I'm taking every data type, but it is which data type? String data type. I want it in integer. Use the type conversion of integer. Use type conversion and pass that number. What I want, I do not want to print it. I want a list. Do result dot append. That's it. Just print that result. Got 1257. Let me just print you the original one. Print of nums. Understand the difference? Here? Any doubts?